Hi guys, what's up? Welcome back to another week of Coffee with Corsini. I'm Bronwyn Mefford and I'm a business major here. I'm also a senior and we are here with
Dr. Corsini. Thanks for joining us today.
It's time for Coffee with Corsini.
So guys, this week we are going to be talking about young leadership and what that kind of looks like at our school, but also just in general. And so we're just going to get started right off the bat, unless you have any life updates, anything you want to share with the people, Dr. Corsini.
I just want to say life is wonderful. It's fall, it's October, it's a great time of year. I'm just ready to get my latte on. It's great.
I agree with that, honestly. I need to. Except, you're a coffee latte, right?
I am more of an espresso guy than a latte guy. I like my caffeine hard and heavy and fast. So.
Okay, I appreciate that. Actually, before we get started really quick, I saw someone in the coffee shop yesterday who had never made a coffee before. And they don't drink coffee on the regularly. I'm not going to expose who it is. But they accidentally made their coffee with 5 shots of espresso because they thought...
I'm so jealous.
In their mind that it was drip coffee, and they were not okay, to say the least.
Just kept going, just kept hitting. I need more. This isn't enough. This is more.
They just
and they have not slept in the last 3 days since then, right? They're still awake. Going, I hate coffee. This is driving me crazy.
No, so that was funny. So people are using it, even if they don't know how to use it. The coffee shop is being used. Okay, let's get into it. That was totally off topic. But this week, like I said, we're talking about leadership and young leadership. So, Dr. Corsini, I want to know what your definition of success looks like or what it is in general.
Success, man, that's a big question, right? That's a big question that I think that can be answered a few different ways. But I think it's an important question. And, I don't know that we can answer, when we want to define success, I think you can't really define success until you have a healthy understanding of failure. And it's really rare, I think, to find somebody who can come to the idea, the concept of failure in a healthy way. Usually, what I've encountered is when it comes to the idea of failure, either a person errs to the, I'm a failure, everything's horrible, I have fallen short, and it just falls apart, or the other extreme where there is no failure. There, everything is a success and everything is great and I don't have any regrets and I can learn from everything. And somewhere between the two of those is a healthy understanding of failure, where I didn't achieve my goal, I didn't accomplish what I wanted to, I failed at this task, and where it's not something that just destroys the person, that you actually grow and you become stronger for it, and you own that failure. I think that actually helps us understand what success is, and success in my mind is more than just achievement. It's it's understanding what's most important, and so there's growth. I think behind the idea of success is growth, that you can have on the outside what looks like failure, and maybe it really is failure. Maybe you didn't achieve your goals, but when you look inward, you realize, man, I grew from that. I'm stronger from it. It doesn't mean that it wasn't a failure, but there was success in that as well for me, because I understand myself better, I understand the world better, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to move forward in a stronger way. So I think it requires a perspective that includes the idea of failure along with the idea of growth. Yeah. What do you think? Well, like in your mind, when you think about, the idea of success, what do you think it is?
Yeah, no, I thought you hit it on the head when it comes to failure. I mean, I think the best way to learn is learning from failure, and oftentimes we don't learn the hardest lessons until we've failed on things that we thought were what we were supposed to do in life, and 9 times out of 10 failures come from when we choose to do something that is not what God wants us to do. So I think failure always gets us on the right, back on the right path. Well, hopefully, if you respond to it correctly.
Hopefully.
But as for definition of success, I think everyone has a different definition, and I think in today's day and age with social media and everything, everyone's life being thrown in your face, it's hard to just decipher the real definition of success. And I think it's so important to understand that everyone's definition is different. So my definition of success would just plain and simply be where you are that you're happiest, and where you are at your healthiest. So when you are like fully centered and living on like what Jesus is calling you to do and everything, I think that like you are being successful in life. Like personally, that's what I think. I think a lot of people get caught up in like, well, I'm not doing this, I don't have this, I don't have enough money, I'm not traveling as much, like I don't have this car. But like ultimately, that is not what success is. Like, even though that's what the world might have made it out to look like, that's not what we're supposed to like measure our worth on. And so I think success simply is where you're happiest in life, and when you're happiest in life, I think you're successful.
Yeah, you bring up a great point with the social media and everything, because it seems like there are not everyone, I can't say everyone, but there are so many people that posture success, right? Mm-hmm. By how they cultivate or tailor their social media posts and what they want to present to the world, how they want people to think of them. But, I think success, it's like what you said, it comes from within, right? It comes from, inside the, perspective. And it's not just a temporal perspective, it's an eternal perspective, right? It's looking at eternity and defining success based on those things that are most important to a person, right? Not how other people view us.
Yeah. You bring up a great point. And also, like, talking about social media and everything, that is obviously something that's pretty important in today's day and age. I mean, that's literally what I'm studying. I'm doing social media marketing. So it is something that has benefited a lot. And I think that today, like, a lot of younger leaders look to social media as like a huge advantage, but I do think you have to be very careful like with that. I think it can be either a huge advantage or a huge disadvantage with however you approach it. But that kind of brings me to my next question, which is just talking about today there are obviously a lot of young leaders and people chasing their dreams. Like they're getting younger and younger, I feel like, because of social media. There's so many like new things that you can do. So what is the advantage of having like young leaders, especially maybe even here at our school? Like I know that we have student leadership. I'm on the student leadership team. Like, how important do you think that is to have younger people involved at places like this or at churches or just wherever?
Yeah, no, I think it's really important, and it presents a real advantage, I think, to have young leaders involved and have a voice, because, from one side of it, it's perspective, right? I think young leaders and a younger generation have a completely different perspective on the world, and it's just based on positioning. I'm an older person. I'm almost 52, right? So I have a different perspective on the world, and I think young people come in and they see things that I don't see. Just like somebody who's 70 is going to see things that I don't see as well, right? And I think each generation comes through and has a unique and valuable perspective. They see things, but also, how do I put this? We're going to die, right? The old people are going to die. The world it's going to become your world, right? Mm-hmm. Young leaders need to speak into what the world is going to become, because it's going to be the world that they inherit. And so I think that's really important to think about. Okay, what sort of a world do you want to live in, and how do you want to influence to look like what you desire and what you value? I'm a Gen X, right? We're going to die out over the next 40 years. In 40 years, those that are in college right now be coming in, their prime, just cranking through. So I think it's important to have each of those voices and each of those perspectives.
Yeah, no, totally. With that, even though like your approach is more, like young leaders are essentially going to replace obviously the ones that are now, like when it comes to young leadership, I think sometimes, just speaking from like being in a young leadership position, it's hard because we don't always see eye to eye, kind of like you said, with like the older generations, because we just grew up in different ways and everything, and like social media now is a thing, and there's just a lot of differences in this time and age. So but that's not saying that we can't learn a lot from the people that are older than us. And so what would you say is like the most important thing that a younger leader can do to make an impact in a career or an internship, or even just at school, to get noticed or maybe pushed up more in a company because they choose to do this, as opposed to kind of following what everyone else does?
Yeah, great question. It's all about relationships. I don't know how else to put it. It is all about relationships. When you're in a company, whether you're an intern or whether you're a vice president, it is all about relationships. And so, my big thing is when I was young, I was just dumb enough to listen to what people told me. One of the things people encouraged me was always seek out relationships with people that are older and wiser, whether that was in ministry, whether that was in my profession, whether that was just in life. And so I've always sought out mentors, just, older, wiser people to sit down and just fire questions at. And I'd say probably since I've been a teenager, I've always that's just been a part of my life. Whether I was in a job, whether I was in my personal life, whether in my spiritual life, I always had people that were older and wiser. I didn't necessarily agree with everything they said, but I had a relationship with them. I pursued. I just came with, question after question after question. And I think what I have found personally, particularly in careers, is that goes a long way. I mean, if you can find somebody who's kind of farther along in their career, they're older, they've done well, just to say, hey, can we grab lunch? Can I grab coffee? I'd like to pick your brain. Most people respond fairly well to that. Most people like being able to talk about themselves, talk about their experiences. And if you're not there just to tell them everything about yourself, hey, let me tell you how great I am, or let me tell you everything I learned, or let me tell it's just about, I just want to soak it up. I just want to learn. Tell me about that. For me, that has been the most valuable thing, I think, in my own career, in my own life, in growing and maturing and becoming successful. And it also helped propel me into positions I don't think I ever would have gotten into before. And that starts right now. Like that starts right now on this campus. That starts in classes. When I was in school, it was getting together with professors outside of class. Just, hey, can we get coffee? I just want to ask you questions. Not even about class, not about the assignments. I want to get to know you and about life.
Yeah.
And that has helped me a ton.
No, I would say that makes a lot of sense. I mean, every single time that I've ever gone out of my way to make a connection with whether that be you, whether that be my professors, whether that be like my pastor, anything, that connection has brought some sort of fruit into my life. Like, I think, this podcast just shows that, we knew each other obviously before the podcast and everything, but that was only because, you made an effort to get to know me, but also I made an effort, and like I was taught the same thing, just to always, I just want to learn as much as I can, and I think my parents always put that like in my head, that you need to respect your, like, the people around you that are older than you, but also learn from the people, because they've been through life, and they've been through, whether we realize it or not, a lot of the same struggles that we have, and we can learn from that. So I think that's really important. So this is kind of switching the topic, but staying on young leadership, and also kind of still talking about social media. I think one of the hardest things right now when it comes to a job or school or anything is procrastination. Because of the distractions that we have around us, it's really easy to push things off till the end. And sometimes procrastination comes with other issues too. It's not just social media distractions, but what would you say is your best cure for procrastination? Do you deal with it ever? I don't know. Just let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know many people that don't deal with procrastination.
Yeah.
And part of it, is psychological. If I have something that's going to require, I'll use some psychology. If I have something that's going to require a degree of ego strength, right? Like I'm going to have to put effort towards writing this paper, or I'm going to have to put some effort into reading this textbook, right? There's some natural, almost a natural resistance to man. That's going to be some heavy mental lifting. And unfortunately in our society, we have all of these distractions, right? Like, and this would be chief among them right here, right? Like, yeah. And on top of it is those distractions, whether it's watching a show or jumping on TikTok or Instagram or talking to a friend or drinking 5 shots of coffee, whatever it is, it provides a very real, what's called, endogenous opiates in your mind, right? You're getting a little hit, or serotonin, boom, you're getting hits of pleasure in your pleasure system, right? And when people first start looking at TikTok, right, I was like 5 hours would just evaporate. It's like, how did that happen? It's like you're just getting these little hits. And so it's like over here, you've got this, task that requires some ego strength. And man, it's going to be some heavy lifting. And over here, it's like, but that feels good. And that feels good. And that feels good. And it's helping to distract me. So for me, for procrastination, what I found to be most successful is setting small marginal goals. Like if I got to write a paper, it was like, all right, I'm just going to write the first paragraph. On Monday of this week, I'm not going to do anything but write the first paragraph. And sometimes I'm just going to get words on paper. They're not going to be complete sentences. And it's getting momentum. It's like getting that rock and just giving it a little bit of a shove. Once you get, it's like, okay, so I got a little bit done. And then the next day it's like, all right, I'm going to do a little bit more. And if I just started off really slow and just did a few things, it was like way easier. Yeah. If I just said, hey, I'm going to take 5 minutes on Monday. I'm not writing my paper today. I'm just going to write the first paragraph. Tuesday, I'm just going to get some words on paper. I'm just going to write some stuff down. By the time Wednesday and Thursday rolled around, it's like, okay, I'm into this. And it made it so much easier. Just taking those sort of small bites out at the beginning, no pressure on myself. I don't have to kill myself. That I ended up getting things done probably earlier than I would have otherwise.
Yeah, no, that's so smart. I kind of do the same thing too, with like chiseling away at the work that you have to do. But oftentimes I find that once I've started, so say I sit down and I set a timer and I just say I'm going to work on my paper for the next 30 minutes or whatever. Once I start, I just think, well, I've already started, so I might as well continue. I'm in the groove now. So I think it's just getting yourself into that groove and getting yourself out of the mindset of, I don't want to do this. It's more, well, I get to do this. I need to do this. This is something that ultimately is going to benefit me from doing it. So I think it's all about changing your mindset from being like, I have to do this, to, oh, I get to do this. And once you start it, the task is a lot easier 9 times out of 10 than you build it up in your head to be. So
yeah, and it's so much easier to put down, hey, I'm just going to do 30 minutes. I'm going to set aside 30 minutes. It's like, okay, well, I can do that. But if you put down 4 hours, it's just going to be like, in the air, freak out, you're stress out. But if you just put, 30 minutes, I'm the same way. Like once I'm into 20, 30 minutes of it, it's like, man, I'm cruising now. Why would I stop? Let me go ahead and bust out some more.
Yeah.
And I might end up doing 4 hours, but it was just so much easier to come to it if I only put 30 minutes down, so I didn't have that felt pressure on me.
Yeah. Okay.
Love that.
Well, that ends our little discussion on young leadership and everything like that. Do you have anything else to say? Do you have any tips or anything that you want to leave the people with when it comes to young leadership?
Yeah, here's just a couple of things I would add to it. Leadership, young leadership, old leadership, whatever type of leadership is not about a title. Leadership is about leadership really is about influence. I like the definition of leadership. A leader is somebody who people follow. Mm-hmm. Has nothing to do with the title you have, the organization. If you look around and people are following you, hey, okay, then you're a leader. And so it's not about, I have to get this title, I need to get this role. It's no, you just need to lead. Mm-hmm. And with that leadership comes an enormous amount of responsibility. With influence, same thing with influence, enormous amount of responsibility. And so I've seen too many people who were legitimate leaders, didn't realize, hey, you're influencing people. People look at you, people follow you. And that's a bigger responsibility. And so I would encourage people to think of leadership as not something they have to go out and attain or some position they have to enter. It's no, you potentially have it right now, maybe way more than you would realize.
Yeah, wow, that's really good. Okay, well, let's get into our weekly updates really quick. Dr. Corsini, I know you have an announcement about Thanksgiving break that you want to tell the people, so go ahead and let them know about that.
Are you excited about it? Is there some build up here? Do we have a drum roll?
We need to have a drum roll or something.
Oh, drum roll. Yeah, all right. So this year, just like last year, what'll happen at Thanksgiving break, people will go home for Thanksgiving and students will not be required to come back to campus. We're going to finish up the semester using our online resources. We don't want the germs of people go home for Thanksgiving coming back to our campus. We want everyone to stay as healthy as possible, particularly for the Christmas break. So we'll do remote learning through the end of the semester after Thanksgiving. People can enjoy their time with their families and not have to worry back and forth. And hopefully that saves some money as well for transportation back and forth. And we all stay healthy and have a great Christmas for it.
Yeah. I'm excited for that because I think I'm going to try and go to my finals on vacation somewhere.
Nice. Yeah, see, now you could do that. You can do your finals from the Bahamas. to.
There you go. Well, I'll have to talk to my parents about that one.
I think you should. Hey, and speaking of, right, we're coming up to Thanksgiving. We have a fall festival, right? Friday night?
Yes, we have fall festival on Friday. Last year was super fun. We carved pumpkins. There was pumpkin pie, apple cider. There's line dancing. I think this year, the pumpkin carving, there's actually going to be like a competition. And there's going to be judges. So that'll be super fun.
Very cool.
So if you are insanely skilled when it comes to pumpkin carving, tonight or Friday night is your night. Yeah,
no,
I'm not
me.
good. I think I make the same face every single year on the pumpkin that I carve, but it'll be super fun, and line dancing is always a good time. So that'll be really fun. So Friday night,
awesome. Hey, and we just had a really great event not too long ago. Just a few days ago, we had the baptism right down at the Bay, which was outstanding. Had 5 different people get baptized. Did you go to that?
Yeah, I went to that. It was super fun. It was just the coolest experience ever. And everyone was so excited. All the 5 kids that got baptized, they were so excited afterwards. So it was a really cool time. And we had a little bit of worship going on. And we just prayed for them. And I mean, anytime that you get to go to the beach is epic. But it's even more epic when you get to watch people become like just engulfed in the Holy Spirit and everything. So that was really cool. But yeah, so that was my...
That's awesome. And then right on the heels of that, right after that Wednesday, we had All People's Church in the chapel. Did you get to go to that?
I went to that too. Yeah, the chapel was really good. Worship was so good. The sermon was good. I think we put like a little bit of a highlight on our Instagram from it. So if you guys weren't able to go see that, you can check it out on our Instagram, San Diego Christian. But it was a really good chapel.
That's awesome. It's been a great semester. Some really great stuff has happened.
Yeah, so far, so good. Okay, well, we're going to end the podcast like we always do with some rapid-fire questions for you. So, like always, just answer them first thing that comes to your mind. And we're just going to get straight into it. I'm not even going to give you time to think or prepare.
Oh, all right, fire away.
Okay, first question is... Oh, this is a deep one. Okay, you might have like 5 seconds to think about it. Okay, if you could say one thing to God, what would you say?
I'd probably start out with saying I'm sorry. I'd probably start out by saying I'm sorry, and then I'd follow that with that thank you.
There you go. Okay, I think that's good. I think that's simple, good. Okay, next up, what is the weirdest thing that you've ever eaten?
Wow. One year I was in South America and I ate the tongue of an ox.
Oh.
I guess that's pretty weird, isn't it?
I would classify that as weird. Did it taste like chicken?
Yeah. No, it tasted like really chewy steak, like really super. It was supposed to be like some delicacy, but it was like, I don't know, tasting something that tastes you back. I had it once. I didn't go back for it.
No, thank you. Okay, thank goodness I already ate lunch because I don't think I would.
And it was purple.
Oh, okay, that is just not for me. I don't think ox tongue is going to be the next thing I make for dinner.
No, it's hard. It's hard to come by in San Diego. I tell you, you can't find it.
Can't find it anywhere. Ox tongue tomorrow night at the cafeteria. It will be served as delicacy. Special request of Dr. Corsini.
That's right.
Okay, next question. If you could be any animal, what would it be?
I'd be a bird. I would love to fly. I'd be a hawk. That's what I would be. I would be a bird. How about that? I'd be a hawk. I would love to fly. I totally would be a bird of some sort. Yeah, a hawk makes cool. Good sense, right? That's probably the right answer.
Yeah. Talons up, baby.
That's right.
Okay. What is your favorite TV show, Dr. Corsini?
So right now, favorite TV show definitely is The Chosen. That's a TV show, right? Like you have to stream it, I guess. Totally. It's not like on the TV. I love that show. Absolutely. I love that show. And I've gone back, I've watched like multiple times. But if I went back to like when TV was like on broadcast TV, like way back, classic, it would have been growing up with Happy Days. Old show, 1970s.
I've
love
never
Happy
seen
Days.
that show. Fun fact, never seen it.
Classic. Absolutely classic.
Also, really quick, if you guys have not seen The Chosen, it is essentially a TV show about the Bible. And it's not one of those cheesy TV shows that is terrible acting. It's actually really, really good. If you guys look up The Chosen, we're doing a little free plug for them, but it's seriously...
Absolutely. I'm all about it.
It seriously, like, made me look at the Bible with fresh eyes. It's a really cool TV show.
I love it.
Next up, you cannot. Well, I mean, you can. You might give a basic answer for this, but what's your favorite book?
My favorite book is a book called the Bible. All right, we get that out of the way,
that's
right?
what we were trying to get.
Yeah. All right. So after the Bible, it's a book called The Great Divorce by C.S. Lewis. And I'm reading another C.S. Lewis book right now, right? You asked that last time, but The Great Divorce is one of my favorite books by C.S. Lewis.
Okay, cool. And last but not least,
and it's actually it's not about divorce. It's about a bus full of people that get to go up to heaven and experience it for the first time. Yeah, it's really amazing, and how most everyone on the bus decides they don't want to stay in heaven, and different reasons why they decide to leave. Yeah. It's fascinating.
Yeah, C.S. Lewis is an awesome author, so that's really cool. I will have to read that one. Okay, last question for the podcast is a little light question to end things on. What is your favorite dessert?
Okay, my favorite dessert, I get this every year for my birthday. And since I was a kid, every year for my birthday, this is what I get. And it's an orange cake that my mom makes. And it's an orange cake that's like super crazy moist. I don't know how it's got orange juice and orange pudding, or I don't know what all is in it. And so my wife learned to make it about a handful of years ago. So now she makes it for my birthday every year. And usually they'll make 2 cakes because one is just for me because I don't share. So they'll make 2 pans of it. It's like, this one's mine and only I get to eat it. And then the rest, everybody else can share. Yeah. Wow. So orange cake.
That sounds really good.
I'm a fan.
No,
yeah. And I don't know where my mom came up with it. I don't know where she found it. I don't know where the recipe came from. And I've never seen it anywhere else. And it's really good.
You might have to share that recipe. That sounds yummy.
I might share the recipe, but I won't share the cake.
Oh my goodness. Well, fair enough. That's fair. Okay, well, I had so much fun talking to you today, Dr. Corsini. That was a really cool episode. I love talking about young leadership and what that kind of looks like. So thanks for chatting today.
Absolutely. Always a blast. Good talk, Brona.
Thank you.
Dr. I have an idea. You know what? We should do this again next week.
Oh, I think that's a great idea.
All right. We'll plan on that then.
Okay. Sounds good. Thank you so much for chatting with us, Dr. Corsini. We will, like we just said, we'll catch you guys next week. Thanks for tuning in. And talons up. And we out.
Go Hawks! Go Hawks! Bye.